Welcome to the Casa Sol Psychology Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole San Martin, registered mental health counselor intern. And on this podcast, we talk everything having to do with trauma, neurodivergence, and nervous system. Today, we're really going to be talking about that connection between the nervous system and exercise. So I'd like to go ahead and welcome Coach William.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for having me. So my name is Coach William. I'm a founder and owner of G5 Training and Wellness, or the G5 Theory, located in Miami Springs. And I look forward to our conversation today.
And just so you know, his personal training facility is very successful, and my mom goes there and loves it. She's happy to go every single week, and she loves the flexibility, the energy, the positivity, and the community really that you guys have created there.
She's just a prime example of a product of our theory. What we do is we showed her the path to the healthiest version, to her healthiest life. And then we showed her how to walk that path. And then we have a facility where she can continue to walk that path. And she's been an amazing story. And
yeah, you guys created the best environment to really create that. But yeah, earlier I know we were talking about the crazy connection between psychology and exercise, or mental health really, and exercise.
The way I describe that is there is no physical health without mental health, and there's no mental health without physical health. I can control what you do. I can't control how you think.
Right.
So what we do in essence is use your biology to obtain your results. And when we're dealing with biology and nature, as long as we put set variables in place, we have a measurable, predictable result 100% of the time.
Right. And then the great part is, the super cool, fascinating part is how exercise actually does change your thoughts in a way, indirectly, right? Because there's all these things happening at the chemical level that, it calms us down, can stop us from overthinking, gives us endorphins, these mood boosters. Even your actions do change your thoughts and what you believe about yourself. When you show up every day for yourself and you commit to your own word and what you said you were going to do, that of course does boost your self-esteem.
Yeah, well, we affect your state.
Right.
And then your state affects your thoughts.
Yeah.
And then your thoughts affect your actions.
Mm-hmm.
We typically deal with the busy mom, the busy dad, the busy professional. They just haven't been taught the path.
Right.
And that's where the theory comes in.
Right. Yeah. And that's such a good point about exercise and how it can bring us so much more mindfulness and being in the present moment. Even through that physical aspect of course, when you're exercising, it's a lot easier to pay attention to what's happening in your body, respecting what your body tells you and that information. And all that is connected as well to mental health, because we know emotions are so connected also to our physical sensations. So that whole relationship there it's so interconnected. Like you said, there's no separating it.
I like to say that we treat what the pills treat. We treat anxiety, depression, sleep, and stress. Because if you're active, you're healthy, so you're happy. Nowhere in that equation does it say how much you have to weigh, what body type you gotta have.
Right.
So the reality is there are some folks walking around who may look overweight who are healthy. And there's some folks who are thin at first glance and they're unhealthy. And that's what we target, right? We're going to use we're going to tell you where your health is. Then from there, we'll show you that path.
And thank you so much for bringing that up. I feel like people don't want to recognize that always, that maybe someone living in a larger body, they do enough cardio and eat well enough. They don't have any, in their labs, everything looks good and they feel good and they're healthy. Although someone might look at them and judge them and assume that actually they're not healthy, but they don't know them and what they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's an example. We don't have a scale in our facility to weigh you, right? What you weigh is an irrelevant variable. The conversation is never, I need to lose weight. Conversation is, I need to get stronger. 100% of everyone's goals is on the other side of strength, whatever it may be.
Right.
And how do you get strong safely, organically? Is through consistency. And that's the riddle that G5 theory solved, is how to stick health and wellness into your busy week.
Yeah, I love that.
Affecting your week.
I love that. And especially in this day and age of social media and this super, this huge emphasis on looks alone and not so much health, not even close. Like it's just all about the looks. And it's also in Miami, right?
Right. But we're going to get to the aesthetics.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the aesthetics as a result of being healthy. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to eat less pizza and ice cream or not.
Yeah. But the looks isn't primary.
Correct.
Exactly.
It's a result.
The health is primary.
For example, at the end of their they come in, they do an evaluation. And at the end of that evaluation, which includes a light workout, we show them what is the definition of a calorie, which in turn, right? Because the issue is not, again, eating pizza and ice cream. And no, the issue is I can't have pizza and ice cream on Wednesday and Saturday. Mm-hmm. So once you show them the value of a calorie and how much they exercise and the effort they put in, and then Wednesday night comes around, let me backtrack. Yeah. They may, on their first session, they may burn 150 calories. We're an efficient machine. But when Wednesday night comes around and let's order pizza and ice cream or wine or whatever it is, and let's watch the movie, they're going to be like, you know what? I'm not going to do pizza and ice cream on Wednesday, but I'm going to do it Saturday. At that moment, it stops becoming restrictive.
Right. Yeah. Like the balance. I love that
right.
You're talking about some of these rules, but not confusing it with restriction, like this flexibility or even just being conscious of your actions. Like, okay, and maybe there is a week you have the pizza and the ice cream Wednesday and Saturday. And then you can kind of like keep that in mind the next week. Or maybe Wednesday comes around and you're like, I want pizza and ice cream today, but maybe I'll like keep it a little bit more balanced Saturday.
You're exactly right. That's 100% right. They now have control over their health and wellness. They know what they're doing and they know what it's going to require to be able to afford those extra calories.
Right. And all this does have to do with people's personal goals, of course, because, I also don't want it to be confused that anyone's going to be judged for eating pizza and ice cream if they want to every single day. It just, seems like this is related to people's specific goals, the type of people that are walking into G5.
Correct. It's funny you say that because a lot of my clients, they travel. I had one particular client travel to Georgia, having Southern cooking for 2 weeks. True story. Came back 14 pounds heavier, right? However, he got back on the program, started, looking at what he ate, got back into the facility. And by the end of the first week, he had dropped 7 pounds. Within the next 2 weeks, he had gotten back to the weight that he left on vacation. So no stress, no drama.
No judgment.
No judgment and complete control over his health and wellness.
Exactly. That's so cool that you mentioned that. The meeting the client where they are at. This is something we talk a lot about in therapy too. The client that comes in, there's no judgment for them. It's just meeting them where they are at. And, like, for example, if one day I give a client some homework and then they come back and they didn't do the homework, it's never any judgment. It's like, okay, well, can we do it together? Like no big deal.
100% of your results are on the other side of strength. So that gentleman has to be strong enough to do what's required to get to where he wants to get to. Right. And there's the psychology of it. For every gram of carbohydrate that we consume, our body holds on to 3 grams of water.
Right. Yeah.
So he's full of carbs and water.
Yeah, exactly.
Comes back.
Not just 14 pounds of pure fat.
Correct.
To freak out about or,
Correct.
Yeah. And also going back to what you had mentioned about the treating what the pills treat. I think that's true. And I think there's a lot of situations where medication is needed and it's not, something that just exercise alone can help. However, I do think if it is possible, if someone is taking a psychiatric medication, they should be doing the other holistic efforts in terms of sleep, exercise, and all these things that are the foundation of mental health.
That is correct. And I work with, mental health professionals in that what I give you is a clean slate. The biology is going to be 100%. So whatever medication, whatever home remedy, whatever else you're gonna do, the foundation is ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, we do know that there could be mental health conditions that do come from genetic predisposition. And then, of course, there's things that can happen. We talk about nature versus nurture, right? Mm-hmm, so there's also things that happen in our childhood and so on that can affect us. But then, those things are outside of our control usually. Usually our childhood, we, as children couldn't have control over that.
Correct.
And neither our genetics. But then there comes a point where we are responsible for our mental health, and there is so much that is in our control, right? Like being able to exercise and being able to eat 3 meals a day. And, I know there's a lot of people out there that maybe don't support 3 meals a day, but I believe that, for example, in a situation where someone is working on their mental health and they need to bring safety to their body, one way to bring safety is the body knowing it will have those 3 meals a day. And then maybe one day if they want to change that habit, then they can, but like building that safety.
Right, that foundation. It's that consistency, and then we start changing or adding. Again, it's all tied together. It's all tied together. The human body is an amazing machine. So yes, absolutely, 100%. You, in addition to, if you need that extra help, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
But be biologically healthy so that the effectiveness is just there.
Right. Or like, for example, since we know sleep is so important, I think if someone, has tried all these things and supplements to try to sleep better and it's not working, it's not happening for them, then maybe that is time to go and see a sleep doctor maybe.
Right.
And even if they do have to take medication for some time, the fact that we know that sleep is so important for mental health, and then also as you probably for exercise, recovery as well. And being able to just keep getting up every day and doing your best in every sense.
What occurs is the mind is obsessed with comfort. Your body is allergic to comfort. So that's how we were designed. And what I mean by that is, right,
our evolution as humans.
Right. So you're not going to the facility, you're not going to the gym 3 times a week. No, you're going to hunt 3 hours a week so you can eat 7 days a week. So irregardless of all these obstacles, right? It could be mental health. It could be a limitation. I have one arm. I have one leg. I have. But at the end of the day, if you have to eat, you have to hunt. And that's where everything just comes together.
Right. And as well as walking, like we know that evolution is thousands of years behind. So this life that we live is not the life that our bodies were designed for.
Correct.
So even with the walk, like how much we probably 1,000 years ago would walk every single day, and that was part of our homeostasis, the hunting and even just the walking, because maybe the women weren't hunting, maybe they were foraging or whatever. It was just even a community walking around and not having the option of cars or anything else like that.
It all comes back to the caveman era. We're designed the same exact way. We have the same systems. This is what keeps humanity moving forward. We're all competitive. It doesn't matter what condition you're in, what shape you're in, what age, ethnicity, none of that matters. When you walk into that facility, that adrenaline, that competitive nature is in all of us, which keeps humanity moving forward. You have to feed that for the rest of your life.
Right. And it is all about working with our biology, like taking into account we're humans. We evolved to be a certain way. We have to do certain things to be at our best. And also really interesting, going back to what you were saying about how our mind is really efficient or really, what was the word you used?
Obsessed with comfort.
Obsessed with comfort, yes. So, and that's kind of true. Our brain is a very efficient machine. It doesn't want to spend a lot of energy. So that also means it wants to use the same thoughts, the same neural pathways in our brain. Once we think about something, do something enough times, it says, oh, I'm always going to take that neural path. I'm always going to think that same thought. Change is hard for us as humans because our brain is so efficient. So we have to respect that and understand that change is hard. Our brain does not want to change because it says, why would I waste extra energy? Remember, we evolved in a time when we didn't have as much of a surplus of food. We couldn't just be wasting our energy willy-nilly.
Think about it. As a caveman, how many hours am I going to spend hunting? How much do I have to hunt? So what happens is your body requires little calories. And then when you're hunting, it's going to burn little calories. So, and that's the dynamic.
All right, just to wrap up, in a perfect world, everyone would be in both mental health therapy and exercising or physical therapy in a sense. Or in an ideal world, everyone would be my therapy client and Coach William's exercise client at G5. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It was great talking with you. So thank you so much for this. All right, see you on the next episode.
Absolutely.